On April 9th, 2023, an unidentified individual called 911 claiming to have overheard a verbal argument and a crashing sound from inside the Pima County, Arizona home of Pastor Stephen Aiken and his wife, Deborah Aiken.
Pima County Sheriff's Department, how may I help you?
Hi, I'm really concerned about my neighbor. I'm hearing the husband yelling to the wife, and it sounds scary.
How long have you been hearing them arguing for, ma'am?
15, 20 minutes. It's very disturbing.
Okay, and does it sound like they are, getting physical, or?
I think so. I know they're an elderly couple, but it sounds, I hear, crashing sounds.
Okay.
Like something being thrown.
I'll call in place. We're going to get officers out there to check it out, okay? So thank you for letting us know.
Do you know how long it'll be?
So as soon as an officer's available, which it shouldn't be very long, and as far as you know, it's just the two of them in that house?
Yeah.
Okay.
According to Mr. Aiken, this call was a false complaint made by a disgruntled former contract employee as an attempt to, quote-unquote, swat him. Sergeant Oscar Frugi and Officer Zachary Woodrow of the Sahuarita Police Department responded to the call, and were later joined by Sergeant Eric Heath and Lieutenant Juan Zamora. The interaction that followed was captured on the officer's body-worn cameras.
Hey, police department!
What?
Open the door!
No, who is it?
Police!
What do you want? What do you want?
You guys doing okay?
Yeah, what's wrong?
Oh, we got a call.
About what? My grandson's in the hospital.
Okay.
We're upset, but there's no fighting.
Okay, can I chat with you?
Can you what?
I can't hear you. Can I chat with you outside?
No. Got what? There's no problem here.
What else is in there?
I'm here. Everybody's fine.
Okay, I need to talk to them now.
Who do you need to talk to? I'm here.
Well, who else is in there?
Sir, I'm not answering your question. I would like you to leave my property. There's no problem here, honest.
Yeah, well, I can't do that right now.
I'm a retired cop. I know the rules.
Well, I'll feel a lot better if I can go in there and chat with you, talk to anybody else who's in there.
Yeah. Not what I want. Nobody's life's in danger. Nobody's in trouble. Everybody's fine. I'm telling you that.
Yeah, you're telling me that, but I don't know who else is back in there.
Of course, I understand.
Okay, well, you did this job, too. You're a retired cop. Where are you from?
Sir, you have no PC.
Where are you retired from?
Philly?
Philly?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I was a sergeant.
You're a sergeant. Oh, perfect.
There's no problem here.
Well, I don't know that. Well, I feel a lot better if I could talk to somebody else in there, besides your story.
You can wait. If somebody shows up, you're happy to talk to them, but I can't help you. There's no problem here whatsoever. None.
So who else is in there?
Sir, I'm not answering your questions. I respect what you do. I wish you well. I want you to stay safe. I support the cops. But there's no crime here. There might have been some crying over a 12-year-old boy who might not make it through the night, but other than that, there's no crime here.
All right. Can I get your name?
Yes.
So who else lives inside the residence now? What's that?
May I go, please? Am I being detained?
Well, you're not being detained right now, no. I'm just trying to figure out.
I wish you a good night. I want to go back to bed.
Okay, well, I just want to make sure that everything's okay. That's all it is, man.
You got my name, you got my date of birth. I didn't even have to give you that, but I don't mind. I appreciate what you do. But there's no problem here. I want to go to bed. I've had a rough night. My grandson's in the hospital.
Hey, my boss wants to talk to you. Is that okay?
Yeah, sure.
All right. Hey, man. Hey. Okay, I appreciate that. So, is there any way that we can come in and talk to you? Okay, I would really appreciate it.
No, not happening.
All right.
Camera, I want you to know there's no crime here, nobody's in danger, nobody's been hurt. There was a yell when we found out about our grandson, maybe that's why they called, but there's no reason for you to come in here.
Okay.
At this point, we're getting close to harassment. Everything's fine.
Okay, so it's not harassment. We ended up talking to the witness, okay? There was a female yelling inside the residence.
That's news to me.
Okay. Who else is inside the house?
Not answering the question.
What's that?
Not answering the question.
I can't hear you, man.
Not answering your question, sir.
Okay, well, unfortunately, I gotta check the welfare of the house, or anybody that's in there, okay? All right.
If you are, and I'll cooperate with you, but I'm not letting you in my house when I took sleeping pills and I want to go to no crime. Nobody's in danger.
Do you have
And nobody's been hurt. And there is peace in the house.
Okay.
4 officers here, so what?
Yeah. Well, we got a call about a possible domestic disturbance.
I understand that.
Okay.
And there was a scream when we got the phone call from mine about my grandson. That's it. So if you think you have enough probable cause, then wake up a judge and come get me. But if I don't think you do, because I'm telling you, there's no harm here. You have no evidence of the crime. I'm asking you to leave. I want to go to bed.
Okay.
And I do wish you well. I wish you well, sir. But there's no crime here.
Okay.
How long are we going to stay here? You see
I can stand here all day long. And I can, all night long, and in the morning, somebody else will come. We can stand here too. But I'd rather not.
You can follow us to work. You can do whatever you want. But that's it.
How about this? Can they come up? Can they come up to the door? Can they come up to the window? Please?
I'm not disconnecting all of her food.
You're not what?
I'm not disconnecting all of her food. Just to wheel her out.
Oh, so she's on oxygen. Your wife is? Okay.
Despite Mr. Aiken repeatedly telling the officers that his wife was bedridden with a serious medical condition and insisting they leave his property, the officers informed Mr. Aiken that they would not leave until they could make contact with Mrs. Aiken. In response, Mr. Aiken provided the officers with his wife's phone number in an attempt to avoid having to get her out of the bed. However, once the officers reached Mrs. Aiken on her cell phone, they were able to convince her to come to the door themselves.
Hello?
Hi, is this Deborah?
Yes, it is.
Hi, Deborah. This is Officer Woodrow with the Sahuarita Police Department.
Yeah.
Hey, is everything okay?
Yeah, everything's fine.
Okay, so we got a call tonight.
Some bad news about our grandson.
Yeah, that's what Steve was telling me. I'm sorry to hear that.
And I've been sick, so.
I understand. Look, Deborah, the quickest and easiest thing that we can do so we can get out of here is just to make sure that everybody's okay. Is there any way that you can? Is there any way you can walk to the front door?
I'm in bed.
Okay, is there any way that you can walk to the front door window just so we can see you and see that you're in good physical condition as far as, you don't have to open the door necessarily, but as long as we can see you.
Sure, I'm in my pajamas.
I've seen everything. You're just fine.
It's okay, you're fine. Hey, miss, come here. I'd like to chat with you. Miss, can I have you please open the door so I can chat with you separately? And then we can just go home. We can get out of here. I can't hear you.
I don't want to see anybody in the house.
Okay. I know. And I'm sorry. I really don't want to bother you. But the thing is I have to check up on you. And I have to make sure that everybody's okay. Okay. And and truthfully, I don't feel comfortable with the way you're talking to me right now. And the only reason is because I can't. You may want to tell me something away from him. And you can't do that right now because he's standing around the corner. He's behind the corner. He turned to left. Okay. Could you please open the door so I can just chat with you? You're not what?
I'm not scared of my husband, but I'm scared.
Okay.
I'm not a grandson.
All right, first, the tools are here. Let her know that if she doesn't open the door, we're going to have to force entry to check welfare.
Okay.
We don't want to damage her nice house.
So, miss, right now, if you don't open the door, we're going to have to break it in. I don't want to do that.
The officers inform Ms. Aiken that they will break down her door if she does not allow them to enter peacefully. As we've discussed before here on ATA, the Fourth Amendment creates strong protections for the home and the right of individuals to be free from so-called unreasonable governmental intrusion while they are in their homes. This means that a warrant is generally required to enter a home without its owner's consent, unless the so-called exigencies of the situation make the needs of law enforcement so compelling that the warrantless entry is considered objectively reasonable under the Fourth Amendment. One such so-called exigency that may justify a warrantless entry is the so-called emergency aid exception, which, as the Supreme Court explained in the 2011 case of Kentucky versus King, permits officers to enter a home without a warrant to render emergency assistance to an injured occupant or to protect an occupant from imminent injury. Crucially, the mere desire to conduct a welfare check does not give police officers the authority to violate the usual warrant requirement in a home. In the 2021 case of Cornelia versus Strom, the Supreme Court unanimously rejected the idea that a general so-called community caretaking function allowed officers to make warrantless home entries in the absence of a true emergency, affirming that there must still be a specific, immediate risk to justify intruding into a home without consent or a warrant. Now here, although the officers had some evidence of a past argument, there was no corroborating evidence of injury or violence, and the house was quiet and orderly when they arrived. Now, because there was no apparent evidence supporting an ongoing present emergency, it is unlikely that a court would conclude that the officers had the authority to enter the home over Mr. Aiken's objections.
Miss, so we have the tool to open the door. Okay?
Let her see it first. Then we gotta go. We got exigency. We gotta move now that we got the right tools. Last warning.
Look, last warning. You gotta open up. Last warning.
I'm gonna kill up that ring.
Okay, you guys got a stack? Okay.
Lieutenant, on you.
Can I come outside?
Yes, you can come outside if you do it right now.
They're gonna take you away.
No.
We're not
gonna
gonna take you away.
Look, 100%, we're not gonna take you away.
This is illegal. I'm amazed. If you think you're gonna use a battery ram, you can do it.
Tell her to open the door.
For what? You have no
Okay.
clause whatsoever. You
Miss,
old folks that are begging you to go to
All right, let's move. Guys.
if you can please open the door.
Move. They're both there. Breach, breach, breach. Move, Oscar. Move. Move.
Are you kidding me? What the heck?
Put your hands where we can see them. Put your hands where we can see them.
She has a medical condition on her license.
Sir, put your hands where we can see them. Bring it down.
She has a medical license on her medical thing on her license.
Come on out here,
We're
boss.
not giving
You're not
consent.
going back here. You're not
Just hurt me. You hit me with a door.
I understand. Ma'am, come over
on
here
out
and
here.
talk to us, okay? Let's get
What
Miss.
is
She
that?
has a medical, she can't.
The officers break down the door, hitting Miss Aiken in the process and causing an injury to her face. The officers then forcibly remove Ms. Aiken, place Mr. Aiken in handcuffs, and walk him outside the house. As we have discussed earlier in this episode, it is improbable that a court would conclude that there were exigent circumstances to allow the officers to make a warrantless entry into the home, even before the officers talked to Ms. Aiken. Once the officers saw and spoke with Ms. Aiken and she assured them that she was fine, any justification for exigent entry diminished significantly, making it even more unlikely that a court would find that the officers had the lawful authority to enter the home. And while courts have approved temporary handcuffing to address a safety risk during the search of a home, the circumstances involved in Mr. Aiken's detention differ drastically from the facts present in such case law. For example, in the 2005 case of Mueller versus Mina, the Supreme Court approved the detention of an occupant in handcuffs for 2 to 3 hours during the search of a home. However, the search in that case was lawful, as it was executed pursuant to a valid search warrant, and officers were searching the house for guns, which was an inherently high-risk situation. The search of the Aikens' home, on the other hand, was likely unlawful, and there was no evidence here that Mr. Aiken constituted a safety risk in any way. Accordingly, a court would likely find that the detention of Mr. Aiken in handcuffs was an unreasonable seizure in violation of the Fourth Amendment.
Embarrassed me in front of my neighborhood. For what? Because we got upset that the grandson was sick?
No, that's not the thing, sir. Listen.
Yeah, listen.
Right. The biggest thing was we just needed to talk to your wife, right?
There she is.
All of this, right? All of this could have been avoided.
Well,
all we needed was just to make sure that everything was okay. Okay, you've been in the field,
yeah,
right? You know exactly what it is. Exigency circumstances.
Yeah.
Saying that a neighbor called and said that a woman was screaming.
Yeah.
Okay.
But she found out my grandson.
I understand that, but we're not here to arrest anybody. We're here to make sure that nobody is hurting inside.
Yeah.
The fact that you said that there's a lot of people in the house, but you're not talking to any of them.
I never saw it. There was a lot of people, but that's fine.
Right. And that's the reason. That's why we're here.
Good. We're all good.
Okay.
You had both of us on camera, both of us telling you there's no crime, no fight, no domestic anything, and you kicked in my door. I mean, that never makes sense to me. You did what you did. If it's within the confines of your job, then so be it. But if it's not, I want to meet with Andy getting journal affairs. Because that's ridiculous.
Did the officers explain to you why we're going to call you?
Yeah, somebody called. Anonymous here. Imagine that. Anonymous tip. So you kicked in my door, an anonymous tip. Not happy.
Mr. Aiken points out that the 911 call that the officers received was from an anonymous source. Courts have consistently held that the Fourth Amendment prevents officers from acting solely on an anonymous report unless the tip includes sufficient evidence of reliability. For instance, in the 2000 case of Florida versus JL, the Supreme Court held that an anonymous tip that a person had a gun, without more, did not justify even a brief stop and frisk because the tip gave no predictive details or other means to test the informant's knowledge. In reaching this conclusion, the court noted that an anonymous tip alone is rarely enough evidence to provide even the reasonable suspicion to make the investigatory stop, and that generally, anonymous complaints must be suitably corroborated before the officers may take action that implicates the Fourth Amendment. Because the Sahuarita officers did not find any corroborating evidence regarding the anonymous call when they approached the Aikens' home, it is unlikely that a court would find that the tip alone gave rise to an actionable level of suspicion.
Well, we called the person back and we asked, hey, what exactly did you hear?
A woman screamed behind me.
So I heard a man say, a man and a woman arguing. I heard a man say, you don't respect me, you're yelling. And the woman said, no, 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 something cracked the door. Then they called 911. Can you describe the house? Well, there's a white paper on the door, something about oxygen or something. Okay.
She heard well.
We went next door, and we went across the street. We didn't see any other doors with the sign that said oxygen.
She heard well.
So we put all the information together. I got a report of an animal in this criminal. We got a man that won't open the door. Says he's a cop and should know the business.
I was very cooperative. At
the window?
Yes, I was. I was very courteous and professional.
I'm going to decide on the other because he didn't open the door.
Wow.
We just have to do what protect your suite. Go make sure that there's no one in there held, injured, being held against a wheel, bound, anything like that.
So every call that you get in this regard, if you don't get in, you crash it. Although you have no probable cause to believe that anyone's being held captive in the room.
Well, in the state of Arizona, we refer to that as exigency. We need to act because there could be somebody in there that's injured.
But that could be every call you make.
It could be every call like this, and we forced entry on multiple calls like this.
Okay. Absolutely right. It is what it is. Where I come from, we prefer the Fourth Amendment.
Good? Alright. Alright, we'll get these off of you.
Thank you.
I appreciate it, Steve. Thanks for the cooperation.
So this whole breaking in the door thing, is that a state Arizona revised, or is it a Sahuarita policy? If you know.
I'm not understanding the
In
question.
other words, the fact that you thought you had the authority to kick in my door, was that under the revised statutes, or was that a Sahuarita policy?
Well, it's our policy.
It's Sahuarita policy.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So there's nothing in the revised code about it.
We take what we consider the totality of the circumstances, acting upon exigency, because we had a reportee tell us the house with something on the door that says something about oxygen.
Yeah, my wife's sick.
There was somebody yelling. I heard somebody say, you don't respect me, yelling, arguing. Then I heard something, no, no, no. And then I heard something break or crash. So we call those clues. Our indication, we're thinking that there's domestic dispute.
Sure.
We showed up, officer spoke to you through the window, asked, hey, can we come in, can we clear, can we make sure nobody's injured? You said, we can't come in, you're not opening the door. Our fear is that there was somebody inside that was injured. So we're waiting for the ram, that's what took so long, otherwise we would have been in 20 minutes.
So would you look like fools if there's nobody in the house?
Would we look like fools?
Yeah.
Based on all the information we have, absolutely not.
So anytime one person answers the door, you're going to end up kicking in every door just in case there's somebody inside.
No, but if I have one person that answers the door, and I have a witness that says, I was walking by, I heard this way and see. We even went as far as going across the street and next door each way to see if there were any other front doors that had signs about oxygen.
No, I understand. She's a sick woman.
To rule that out.
And that's why we have the number for our attorney on there as well. Because people make prank calls just because she's sick. So it's all good. May I have something? Thank you. I appreciate the work you do. I actually do.
Have a safe night, sir. You too.
After the encounter, Mr. Aiken wrote a letter to the chief of the Sahuarita Police Department regarding the entry into his home and requesting a separate investigation into who swatted him. An officer did meet with Mr. Aiken, but no investigation was ever formally launched. The Aikens originally planned to settle any potential claims stemming from this encounter for $1 and an agreement from the Sahuarita PD to provide additional training to the officers. However, according to Mr. Aiken, he decided to proceed with a lawsuit instead of agreeing to a settlement because he believed that the proposed training materials were inadequate and did not appropriately cover the Fourth Amendment issues involved in the illegal entry into his home. On April 10th, 2024, the Aikens filed a federal lawsuit against the officers involved and the town of Sahuarita. Along with other claims, the Aikens alleged Fourth Amendment violations, including false arrest, illegal search, illegal entry, and illegal refusal of requests to leave. As of the date of writing this episode, this case is still pending, and Mr. Aikens is scheduled for a deposition in August. I want to give a special thanks to James Freeman, who supplied the footage used in this episode, and also created a documentary telling the full story of this encounter. I highly recommend checking out his coverage of this encounter, and you can find it linked down below. Overall, the Sahuarita officers get an F for needlessly escalating an anonymous call into an illegal breaching of a private home, blatantly ignoring clear evidence that dispelled their suspicion, and for demonstrating a reckless disregard for the safety and constitutional rights of Mr. and Mrs. Aiken. It is obvious from the footage that none of the officers on the scene possessed a clear understanding of what satisfies the so-called exigent circumstances doctrine, which requires clear evidence of an immediate emergency, not vague allegations of a potential past crime. The 911 call that prompted their response came from an anonymous source with no identifying details or corroborating information. Despite this, the officers treated the tip as though it created a legitimate emergency, even though they encountered no visible signs of distress or violence upon arrival. Over the course of 37 minutes, they spoke to both Mr. and Mrs. Aiken through the door, made multiple radio calls, and waited for a breaching device to arrive, all without seeking a telephonic warrant. When the officers ultimately broke down the door, they injured Ms. Aiken, ironically the very person that they claimed to be protecting, and escalated the situation without justification. Mrs. Aiken had already made verbal contact with them and showed no signs of harm. Instead of de-escalating, the officers handcuffed Mr. Aiken and then forcibly removed him from his own home, despite no indication of violence, resistance, or a safety threat. Even after the scene was secure and no victims were found, the officers continued to detain Mr. Aiken, further demonstrating that the handcuffing was more about control than safety. The Sahuarita officers' actions were legally reckless, physically harmful, and they failed to meet even the baseline requirements for constitutional policing. This interaction highlights how misapplying the exigent circumstances doctrine, especially in the absence of a real emergency, can result in unlawful entries, unjustified detentions, and a total breakdown of the Fourth Amendment protections that are supposed to shield individuals in their own homes. Mr. and Mrs. Aiken get an A+ for remaining calm and collected throughout the encounter, firmly and reasonably asserting their rights, and for following up this encounter with the proper legal action. Throughout the interaction, Mr. Aiken repeatedly asserted his Fourth Amendment rights and denied officers consent to enter his home, despite their attempts to pressure and intimidate him. He made it clear that he was aware of his legal protections and exercised them without escalating the situation. After the illegal entry, rather than jumping to file a lawsuit, the Aikens initially offered to settle for $1 and a promise of improved officer training, which speaks volumes about their character and intent. When it became clear that the training proposal offered by the department didn't meaningfully address the constitutional violations that took place, Mr. and Mrs. Aiken were essentially left with no option but to sue. Both Mr. and Mrs. Aiken were assertive in the moment and proactive in the aftermath of this encounter, and their conduct represents a textbook example of how citizens can responsibly confront government overreach without resorting to hostility or theatrics. I commend the Aikens for courageously exercising their rights and for following up this interaction with the proper legal action. Let us know if there is an interaction or legal topic that you would like us to discuss in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to check out my second channel for even more police interaction content.